Good morning. It's great to be with you this morning. My name is Polly. I live and work in Tring. I work at High Street Baptist Church in Tring, and so it's great to come here and talk a little bit about Eco Church and what we're doing there for that. Let people get their seats. Okay. I've been in Tring about 7 years. We moved there as a family from West Africa, where we'd lived for 13 years. And one of the things coming back to the UK after being away for quite a while was to discover Eco Church, this organisation that brought together creation care and social justice issues and faith, Christian faith, so issues that were really close to my heart. So it's been great to learn about that over the last few years and be very engaged in it. Also, when I moved to this area, I was very pleased to discover a wonderful fair trade shop on your high street. And as a fair trader since I was about 16, 17, it was amazing to see this on a high street. And I just want to congratulate you on this incredible living out God's mission on a high street and advocating for ethical trade. It really is a really tremendous witness. So thank you for that. So first of all, I'm going to start with a confession. I don't like Christmas. And I have very happy memories of Christmas. I enjoyed it as a child. I looked forward to that day of opening presents and the crinkly stocking at the end of my bed. But I also had that kind of I remember that dejected or sort of flat feeling afterwards, after all the fun and the buzz was over. And I've kind of found it harder and harder over the years with the excess and the pushing the merchandise and the materialism of Christmas. I find it a really stressful time. This last Christmas we were abroad as a family and it was just blissful. It was like any other day. We had a mince pie that I popped in the suitcases, but otherwise it was just a day like any other. So, of course, I know what the real meaning of Christmas is. And it's not your Christmas jumper, it is that God sent his Saviour to the world, to the earth, to be born in human form. And of course, I appreciate that as a Christian. Why am I mentioning this? Well, I think that something has happened to Christmas that's happened to creation care. I think as Christians, early Christianity, we were fully aware of God's creation. We've just sung a beautiful hymn written in 1885 with imagery in there about God's creation. We look around buildings like this and it's full of images about God's creation. But I think the world has changed so much, particularly in the last 100 years. We are full of access to technology, to appliances, to machines that help us live. We have food production that's done on industrial scales. We have machines in our houses that mean that we can do things quicker and more easily. And in the West, we have really enjoyed that, or global North, I should say. But also with that has come some consequences, and I think that consequence is that we have been separated from the essence of God and his creation. When we open the Bible, as we've just done this morning, we have read some verses where we are reminded of that incredible story of God's creation, not just the earth, but the stars and the heavens, the vault, as that word, the sky surrounds the earth. And that word, or the term creator God, is used in the Old Testament and the New Testament frequently. I wonder if you've ever created something. It's lovely being in here and we can see creations quite literally around us. Textile creations, beautiful dresses, flowers. Maybe you've made something. Maybe it was a cake. Maybe it was a picture. And you've just done that. And you've just then taken a moment. You've just sat back and just looked at it and thought, that's pretty good. And just enjoyed that moment. And we've just read the story this morning of creation. Genesis chapter 1, verse 9. And God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear, and it was so. God called the dry ground land, and the gathered waters he called seas, and God saw that it was good. Genesis 1 is full of these phases of creation, and after each one, God takes satisfaction in what has been made and named. He stands back, as it were, and takes stock each time, and God saw that it was good. Verses 4, 12, 18, 21, 25, and God saw that it was good. He was pleased with his creation. So what's happened? Some people have read that story over the years and really made the case that we humans have been put in charge. When we look later in Genesis, we see where that comes from. God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And literally, we've taken that. The human race has just run with that. We have plundered the earth. We have plundered the seas. We have destroyed habitats. We have used natural resources. We have exploited crops and animals for our own use and our own gain and our own greed. We have crowned ourselves king over creation. You're probably sitting there thinking, no, that's not quite how I see creation, and that's true. We often see ourselves as stewards. I think that's a helpful term. We can see ourselves as God's gardeners, tending, looking after. And I think that's a very common view at the moment. But I think that it still has this disconnect with our relationship with creation. So I want to use the word kinship. That humans are not in charge of creation, that we are part of creation. Remember, we weren't created on our own day. We were created on the day with the other land animals on day 6. And I think that this fraternal relationship is something that we could think about to help us relate to creation in a different way. Creation thrives in a conditional, mutual relationship of interdependence. So, in other words, we're to live alongside, within the world, not against it and certainly not above it, but we're to live within it respectfully. So this is what I mean when I say we've become disconnected from creation care, just as we've become disconnected from Christmas and what it really means to us as Christians. So A Rocha, thankfully, is this organisation that exists to help Christians to connect with creation. Many of you will have heard of A Rocha or perhaps the Eco Church Project. So I'm just going to briefly explain what those things are. So A Rocha is the overall organisation with a mission to equip Christians to protect and restore the environment for God, nature and all people. Wild Christian is one element of that. It's the project for households. So as a family or a household, you can sign up to that. You can receive emails and support and advice as a household of how to progress along creation care. Partners in Action is the project, which is the collaborative network of Christian land managers, so people who have large areas of land. They might be churches, they might be retreat centres like Lee Abbey in Devon, where they are looking to protect and care for the natural world. And then there's the Eco Church Project, which I'm explaining today. This is the framework for churches. It's an online system where you can go through a series of awards from bronze, silver to gold, Eco Church Awards, and you've already got your Bronze Church Award here. So first of all, congratulations for that. So there are nearly 6,000 churches across the UK who have registered with the Eco Church community, and 2,300 of those have gained awards. There are 34 gold Eco Churches, and Tring High Street Baptist Church is one of those gold churches. So I'm just going to share a little bit about some of the things we have done or are doing within that programme of getting those awards. The Eco Church Award scheme has 5 areas. There's a really lovely display at the back of your church. So after today, you've got that as a reference point to see what are these areas, and it's some great tips and advice, things that you're certainly doing already as well. So the first area there is worship and teaching. So this usually refers to Sunday morning. It also refers to things like the house groups or home groups that you might have or that you're part of. And it's the sorts of things that are happening this morning. It's exploring issues as young people, perhaps issues of modern day slavery or fair trade or refugees, things that you can learn more about and do with your worship. So the parts of your prayers and the songs that you might use on your Sunday morning. Buildings is the next area. It's often a really challenging area where you've got old, beautiful buildings like this to start making steps to reduce energy use or look at more sustainable energy forms. But it's also things within the building, so recycled toilet paper or the cleaning products you use. I spend a lot of my time, I'm the administrator at High Street Baptist Church, sourcing materials and cleaning products and things that you might use. So I appreciate it's a time-consuming job investigating that. And I was very pleased to chat earlier to the person who's in charge of these gorgeous flowers and thinking about using alternatives to the oasis that you've got, and you're well on the way with that, which is fantastic to hear. So it's great. Land is the next area. We don't have a huge amount of land at High Street Baptist Church, but we have a area around our building, and then we've adopted a small garden at the back where we try to make that as wildlife friendly as possible, with bat boxes and swift boxes, water for pollinators, bird feeders. But we also enjoy the land, and when you've got beautiful grounds like this, it's really important to enjoy that space, to be in it, to worship in it, to explore it with your children and young people, and have fellowship there. So using the land is the next area. Then the fourth area is community and global engagement. Witnessing to the community, we try to engage in things that are happening in our community, so seasonal festivals where we can have a space to perhaps have some craft activity based on using recycled materials that we can do as part of our witness within our town. We also try to use our building for our community, giving the space to people like the Ukraine support group who just need somewhere to meet, serve coffee and do activities. So engaging in the community. There's obviously various pictures and bits of bobs illustrating what I'm talking about there. And then lifestyle. So the lifestyle section is about you. It's about membership. It's about the people in the church, what you're doing within your own household to care for creation. And I think sometimes that's a hard area because it's how do we know what we're doing? So we've used a lifestyle survey, we've asked questions with one another, and then we've shared that information, and it's been great to hear what people are doing and say, oh, well, I've discovered that I can buy my coffee here in the town. I can bulk buy the fair trade coffee. Oh, and then I can also get the recycled coffee grounds to put in my garden, my pots in my garden. They're giving them away at that cafe there. So it's kind of just using our networks, talking to one another, and sharing how we can care for creation. I think as a church, we've taken many years to get to where we are now, and there's still lots more to do. But I think relational aspects has really helped us to grow. I really like small groups as a space to talk about what you've discovered on a Sunday morning and then explore it further. I've put at the back a few resources, and one of those is a book that we've just read as the Big Church Read. That's a scheme. It's run by St Andrew's Bookshop, which again is local to here, but it's a resource where you've got a book, you've got a video, some questions, and it's broken down into 6 or 8 weeks, and you can just digest that together. And they've got lots of books there that are on these themes, maybe social justice, maybe there's a book that's there about the foundations of Arosha, the organisation, but all sorts of other things. A way to kind of just question these things and talk it through. Another thing that I just say to our church and to other churches who ask us about these things are just keep on keeping on. It's a journey, it's a step by step. We have come so far away from caring for God's world that we need to, it's like turning an enormous ship back in the other direction. We need to re-engage with it, reconnect with it. So just celebrate successes, celebrate the fact that you are pioneering methods for displaying flowers that other churches are just thinking, how do we stop using those oases in the middle, which are a disposable and really unenvironmentally friendly product? How do we do that? How do we share that? So celebrate those successes. And then use services like this, sermon series, to just keep on engaging on the topic. So going back to Christmas, let's just remind ourselves of the meaning of that. We're about as far away from that season as we can be at this time of year. But the verse, for God so loved the world, not just part of the world, not just the global north, not just humans. He loved the whole world, that he sent his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. God sent his Son in human form to grow, to tread on the earth, to spend time with the most marginalized people, to tell stories that connected people with what was around them, illustrations using sheep and vines and grains of sand as illustrations. He had fellowship with his disciples. He connected on a personal level, just as the church needs to connect with his creation and be reminded of the origins of our earth. Not because David Attenborough or Greta Thunberg says so, but because Creator God made us to live on earth, to live with integrity and to live with relationships with him and with one another. Amen.
So can I say thank you as well, Polly? It's a real inspiration to hear what you're doing on a normal level, I think, which is great. You know, sort of the stuff there that you're doing that we are working towards and we can continue to work towards. So thank you so much for that. Published The Banns of Marriage between Jack Ray Nelson and Phoebe Rebecca Tebbett, who both live in St Michael's, Aston Clinton, but are going to be married here on the 12th of August. So this is for the third time of asking if any of you know any reason in law why they may not marry each other. You are to declare it now. So they can go ahead. So please be holding Jack and Phoebe in your prayers as they prepare for their wedding, as say, on the 12th of August. You can see all the gorgeous dresses and flowers around us. We've had an amazing day yesterday. Despite the weather, people just kept constantly coming in, and we took over £1,400 yesterday, which is fantastic. So this afternoon, so once we're finished, then the exhibition will be open again. And then at 3:00, we've got a Songs of Praise, all their favourite wedding hymns. And then after that, we're going to be drawing the raffle. So if you're not able to come back then, but now haven't got your tickets due, there's some very, very good prizes. So, please, I think Julie will be there and not let you out the door till you've got your tickets. So, there are some flowers that Jane has arranged for people to buy as well, if you're interested in those. Tea and coffee is going to be slightly different today. Please don't bring it. It's going to be in the kitchen. Please, can we not bring it out into church? You'll be pleased to know that the alcohol we've served has been white and not red. There was no red wine around. So it's going to be in the kitchen. And because there's cake there as well, so we're asking you to make a contribution today, just for today, for the tea and coffee. But enjoy chatting to each other. And then there are the brochures, which are £2. And they tell the story of each of the dresses. So you may not have time to read them all now, but they're packed with lots of memories and history as well. So this is our oldest dress, 1906, Italian and that's why I've had everything over this side today. But, you know, it is, as I say, it's the history that's around, but also the lots and lots of memories. So do have one of those as well. And then at 5 o'clock, we've got to take everything down. So if anybody's able to help with that, that would be fantastic. Next Saturday, 22nd, there's a tea dance. So church will look very different. But that's for the whole community. So come along yourselves. I'll be inviting people to that. And then on the 6th of August, Michael and Carol have arranged a family walking treasure hunt. So about a mile or so round the village. So again, sort of put that date in your diary and be around. Tomorrow morning, we've got Sparklers' end of term party, hence the dresses having to move. So, you know, if anybody's around, have a coffee. And on Tuesday morning, we're welcoming Year 6 from Wendover Juniors for their Leavers service. So please be praying for them. And I've been saying to quite a lot of people have asked us why have we done this. Well, it's to try and encourage a few more weddings, if possible. But I think the wonderful thing about the 3 for this year is George, who was the groom in March, went to the junior school. Jessica, who was the bride in June, went to the junior school. Jack, who's the groom in August, went to the junior school. And they all have memories of coming to the services that they had here. And we have to sing the songs that they sang then as well. So we know, you know, give me joy, one more step. But it just shows what sticks from those days. So I think that's wonderful. I think I now have said everything that I need to say. So let me finish. Thank you, David.